Hello, YouTube. This is just another guy talking about stuff, and I'm here with Referee Chris DeAntonio. Say hi,
How's it
Chris.
going, guys? How we doing
All
out there?
right. Chris and I have been working together on the the independent wrestling circuit for a few years now. So I've gotten to know Chris, and I thought I'd have him on and do a little interview, and see what his feelings are about wrestling and life. So first off, Chris, how's the COVID treating you? How's the
Not bad. This isn't my usual what I look like on a show. uh,
You haven't had
this
to
is a
shave in a
little bit
while.
different. Yeah, this is haven't gotten to it yet, that type deal. But yeah, things are going well. I think at this point maybe we can start all get back out there. I think some of us are, I'm sure all of us are definitely itching to get back into the ring, get back into the crowd, start seeing some live wrestling
See
again.
all the people, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
we all definitely miss it. Hopefully numbers are starting going back down. They're not looking too good right now. Numbers are starting to climb back up, but hopefully if everyone does what we need to do and we can do this, get the numbers back down and get in front of the crowd again. When was the last time you had a wrestling show? It's been a while, right?
Yeah. Since probably uh, beginning of March, maybe
Yeah.
like right at the tail end when they started to close everything off. I think we had a show. It's been a while now. It's
Starting to miss it.
feels like an eternity.
It does feel like a long time since since the beginning of all this whole year's seemed like an eternity. But
Yeah.
so my first question would be, what what got you into wrestling as a fan? Like, when did you start watching? When did you what got you into it? What,
Um, Actually, as a fan, I started watching wrestling when I was like 3 years old. I actually started watching it at my grandmother's house. My grandmother like loved WCW, and she used to always have that on like when I would come, and I got interested in it. And then as soon as I started taking interest in it, like I was shown WWF, and I would watch like both like all the time growing up as a kid, and like um, I remember like certain wrestlers would like scare me when I was like a 3 year old. Like I remember specifically like Jimmy Snuka scaring the crap out of me.
That's pretty
And
funny.
yeah, just like I got into it since from then, and I always watched like depending on what was going on in life. Like it sometimes it might have been at varying degrees. Like when I was in high school, obviously like I didn't get to watch it as much, but once schedules started opening up a little bit more and things like that and different life things, like I could get back into it more. Like I was never disconnected from it, and it's always been since at least like 2 3 years old I actually started watching wrestling.
Yeah, it's great because I mean, me personally, I'd never got into WCW until it got on cable because we just didn't get it in where I was, and in the cable package, and we got all WWF on the Saturday and Sunday morning shows and the USA Network, but we didn't have TBS, and I never got exposed to WCW until Nitro started coming out. So that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. I remember the WWF stuff in the early after like early mornings on the weekends, and then
yeah, that
I don't
was
think
my
my grandmother ever had anything other than TBS on. I think that's why I feel like I
that was
feel
her
like I
jam.
think that's why I caught on to it really early. But
Awesome. So how did you get into refereeing? What got you started into that?
um, refereeing way back, it feels like an eternity now for this too. When Tommy Dreamer opened the House of Hardcore Wrestling School in Poughkeepsie, um, being local and knowing some of the other trainers that were there that helped open the school, um, most people will know the tag team, the Now, Hale Collins, Vic Delicious. Um, I had known them personally a little bit, initially meeting them on a show for Northeast Wrestling, and then finding out I kind of knew them personally, and they would ask me when the school opened, um, do you want to be like the first student in the school? And at my size, I was like, well, I know I'd have to be doing shooting star presses and whatnot if I want to stand out. And I was like, I don't know if I could, I don't know if I could do it. I've always been like athletic for in sports and stuff, whatnot. But I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. So they would still constantly ask me for like 2 years, about on and off for 2 years. And
Oh
I'd
wow.
always ask them like, how's everything going with the school? Like, cause obviously I always had an interest in it. And, one day they happened to ask me again. They're like, "You want to get into school? You want to get into school? Come on!" And I was like, "Well, what would you guys say to me coming into the school, but as a referee?" And they were like, "Well, you look like a referee. Your side, like, why wouldn't we just think of that before? Like, this obviously would be better for you if you want to do that." And I was like, "Yeah, have me in there if that's okay. Let me do that because like I didn't know how like referees." Got into wrestling school. Like I didn't know if it was a little bit different from the guys that are in there wrestling. So um,
Right.
they were like, no, you're gonna learn everything just like these guys, and you're gonna take bumps, hit the ropes, like everything like that. They're like, just you're gonna be doing a little bit different things like for the drills. So I'd always had an interest in it too. Like I always would watch the guys in the ring, like seeing how they were managing however many guys might be in the ring at the same time, how those things were handled. Like I just always had an interest in that for years prior. And I don't know why I didn't think to bring it up sooner to those guys. I'm happy that I eventually did. And I I was brought in for as a referee, and then because of that, being like the only guys in there for that, I got a lot of practice. I got a lot of stuff to see, and I got a lot of experience just by default.
Yeah, I don't think people realize as a referee when you're training that you do train to basically do everything,
Right?
right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
it
Yep.
might not be to the extent that some of the wrestlers get, but we even learn how to do chain wrestling, and because if you don't know what you're doing, what the wrestlers are doing, you can't really communicate to the wrestlers, things that you need to communicate in the ring. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad
A
you
lot of
pointed on
it.
that. Now, what year did you start training?
I started my training in 15, 2015.
2015.
Yeah,
So this is
15.
so this is your fifth
Yeah,
year
2000.
in professional wrestling.
Yeah, coming up on 5th year now.
So yeah, so speak
I
about
could feel like
some
a
of your
grizzled veteran.
experiences. Speak about some of your experiences that you had training in the House of Hardcore.
Yeah, so training with House of Hardcore was it was a lot of fun with the guys I was in there with. Everybody was, obviously when you get into the wrestling business, like you find out everybody's a character, whether they're it's a gimmick or not.
Whether they're in the ring or out of the ring.
Yeah,
There are a
so
lot of
some
characters
people
in
are,
professional wrestling. Yes.
yeah, everybody, whether it's a gimmick or not, scary or funny, it's sometimes all meshes together into one.
Well,
Um,
they say the best characters are just an extension of yourself. So
yeah, there was there was definitely like a lot of talent that came through. There was a lot of like guest guys that would come in and help out a lot. Um, I'd get a lot of help on the shows too. Like initially, I would like anybody else. You're there setting up. You're not participating in any shows yet. You're cutting your teeth in practice. You're getting to learn a lot of drills and whatnot from people that have been in the business for a long time and have a lot of experience. Like, and I did get a lot of, he did learn a lot of things from Tommy Dreamer. He wasn't always, to be honest, like he wasn't always there at practice, given he would be on the road for whoever he would be working for at the time, because he was working for different people,
of course.
while he had the school. So, he would be dropping in here and there, but it wasn't every day, for every week at practice. So, um, the now had a big hand in helping me with a lot of my training. Um, a lot of guys that would come pass through. They would offer a lot of advice. Some of them had done refereeing before. You had guys like old school guys like Tony DeVito would show up at a practice, and I'd say, "Oh, like did they get you on the phone and have you, ask you when you're free?" He's like, "No, I just felt like coming.
Showed
I
up,
just
and
knew you
that's
guys
yeah,
were going to be here. And I was
that's
like,
Tony,
oh,
isn't it? That's
yeah.
Tony
He's
DeVito.
like,
You know,
oh, you know,
he was obviously one of the big influences in you know in my career. His wrestling schools where I trained, and you know we talked about that last interview with Jeff with Kevin. That you know I met Jeff Leibold, who you know, and
hmm
you know
yes,
he
I
kind
saw
of
him
got me
yesterday.
into right. You guys work together, but but yeah, he got, you know, I met him and he got me into Tony DeVito's wrestling school, and it was kind of the same thing. Tony wasn't always there, but you know, there was enough guys there with experience. You know, Jeff Leibold being there, and Lou Santiago, who I'm sure you know, Diablo Santiago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Yep.
he was training there at the time too, and he got, you know, he had been in the business for 15, probably 15 years, maybe 10 years at that time. And so yeah, that was a big help for me. So that's the nice thing about wrestling school is, you know, everyone's helping each other kind of learn.
Yeah. Just the past experiences from other people to come in and tell you something like, hey, I know this isn't like a normal thing in training, but just to let you know, when I was up here, when I was like doing WWE TV, like for a few months, like this would just happen to be something that they stressed. Or like, and you get, you're in a good school, or you get guys that come by to help that have a lot of good experience. It's like that experience and advice is worth more than anything, sometimes more than whatever you might be paying in a tuition or something at a school, no
100%.
matter where you are. Sometimes those 5-minute conversations you have with somebody about them giving you advice for something they'd seen elsewhere for past experiences, like sometimes more valuable than anything else.
So that being said, if you can go back with 5 years of experience now and talk to yourself when you were first training, what advice do you think you'd tell yourself?
um Take like, don't over, it sounds weird, don't overextend yourself. I was trying, I tried to do a lot very quickly, and I didn't have, I wouldn't say I had like a lot of failure with it. It's just that I got overwhelmed at first, and I feel like at some points I wasn't taking everything in like I could be. um like, they tell you when you first start, get as much practice as you can, do as many shows as you can, meet as many people as you can, which I was doing, but I was doing it at like such a quick rate right from the beginning, just because of like who I knew from the schools and people would help me get on the shows. Like, um I did a lot very quickly, and I felt like afterwards I wasn't taking in as much. I was just like, let me go here. All right, now I'm gonna be here next week, this, and I was like, it was a lot at once.
It was hard to take things in, kind of get
Yeah, I felt
yourself
like,
where yeah,
yeah, it was a
that's
little bit more difficult to take things in, just a little bit, because I was very fortunate for who I got to work for at the times I did, like being essentially newer into the business, getting to work. Uh, at my first House of Hardcore show, I was a student for like 2 months.
yeah.
I was still a baby. Like, I didn't know anything, and I remember my first. I don't know if I guess I could say this thing. My first time that I got to do a show was, we were there for House of Hardcore. We did a Long Island show on Friday, and then we were in Philly in the ECW arena
Yeah.
on the Saturday. Like,
That was
the biggest of deals, the place
that was your
to
first
work.
weekend in professional wrestling. I'm in the
Yeah, it
ECW
was
arena.
like I did like a weekend or two before, but it was just like strictly just helping out, setting everything up, doing whatever. And I remember Friday night, I'm literally putting a guardrail back outside the building in Long Island, and Tommy walks by, and I said, "Hey, see you tomorrow. Have a good night, whatever." And he goes, "You have your ref stuff with you?" And then he's asking me like after the show, so I'm like, what are we getting at here?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, of course, always." He goes, "Bring your shit tomorrow. You're working." And I was like, "Wow, really?" He's like, "Yeah, don't fuck it up." And that was it.
And that was it.
That was that was him telling me you're gonna.
You're on the show.
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, you're gonna be on there tomorrow," and I'm like, "All right, great." I have like, I got poop sitting in my pants now because he's telling me my first show ever is gonna be at the ECW arena with everybody that knows. Obviously, you're a wrestling fan in the slightest. You know that place is.
It's pretty legendary, especially the time frame that we grew up watching wrestling.
Yep. Yeah. Right.
That was a legendary building. 100%.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, what challenges have you faced as a referee? Like, what are some of the most challenging things that you've had to deal with?
I'd say some of the most challenging things are the new things that come up when you are in wrestling, when you take on like something you haven't done before or something you don't have like tons of experience with. Like, I'd say the challenges for me is working with new talent that has done a lot in the business and like not wanting to disappoint somebody, wanting to do, because obviously some people come from different places. Like, somebody can be like king on the indies and they do something very different to somebody that maybe just left the WWE, and they'll come down to like Northeast Wrestling where we get like tons and tons of talent that are like world class. And you're like, you're the man in the middle for a match of like somebody that's just came from there, and they're wrestling somebody on the card that's like, they have their own way of doing things because they haven't been maybe signed to like a major promotion. So like, you don't want to disappoint.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge, is like, you completely understand that. Like the challenges with that is like, how is everybody different of what they expect from you and what they demand like of you in the ring. And like, not only do you have different talent, like the new talent you might work with, or people that have different expectations, you have like, you work for different promoters, you work for guys that just run the show completely different. You have people that are like, that are top class, like Michael Lombardi.
Of course.
When we do a Northeast Wrestling show, things are done a particular way. Things are like just the way they're supposed to be. Like, nothing's out of place, and he expects that of us.
Right.
And just, you don't you don't want to disappoint anybody. Like, you always want to be like a consummate professional, and you always want to have like the right answer. You want to be in the right place for everything. Like that, those have been like, I'd say it's not like something that you would think of top of your head, but like challenges for me is like just working with the new people and like expectations. Like, you don't, that's how you continue to work in great environments like that. Like, you put yourself out to be what's expected of you, and it's like, not everybody's the same, and
Right.
everybody can be very different.
That's a great point, because as a referee, people do expect different things out of referees, and sometimes they're always not on the same page. So there's always a challenge there to trying to find out what what they want your role to be.
Yeah, some guys do TV and whatnot. Like, a TV or live stream day for us in some cases is like, there's a lot more there than doing a smaller show being run on a Friday night in a smaller building that's just there for a live crowd. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I mean, even in the ring, some wrestlers expect you to treat them in a certain way as a referee, and you might have a different idea about how you want to approach things, and you want to kind of make everyone happy, especially as a referee, right? Your role is there to kind of stay out of the way, and but also get the certain things over in the match.
Yeah,
so people have different expectations of that.
As far as like training went, that was always like, that was the big challenge for me when I was learning. It was like, stay out of the way, be very assertive. Like, don't let it be, basically look like a no disqualification.
And doing those two things simultaneously is tricky.
Yeah, that's all that, and that is like the
staying out of the way and asserting yourself. People would listen to that and be like, that's kind of the opposite. But at the same time, it's kind of the role that you have to play as a referee in wrestling.
Yep.
So we got the challenging
100%.
part out of the way. So what's the most rewarding thing for you as being a referee?
Oh man, the most rewarding thing is just like, is just getting to be for me personally, like not just like as a ref and for me personally, getting to be in the positions I've gotten to be in and like work with the people I've gotten to work with in the business. Like there's plenty of people that get in the business and do this, and they're like they'll work on like whatever's like local to them, and I've gotten to travel so much. I've gotten to meet like legendary people in the business. I've gotten to like spend weekends with some of these people. I've gotten to I was just saying, getting to work with particular promoters that know how to run a company like for years, and it's not
Right.
even just a flash in the pan thing. Like um just the exposure, like getting to be on TV was like super cool. Like I would never have expected that in a short amount of time. Like that I feel like I have in the business. Like it's been 5 years for me. I still feel like the new guy, especially when especially when we run our shows, even at like Northeast Wrestling. Like I have 5 years and I'm like the baby.
Yeah, yeah,
I have no time compared to like everybody else. Like it's such the learning experience for me has been awesome, and like the people we get connected to, and like the guests that drop by in and out of like in Zebra Talk as well. Like even not being in the ring, being home like this and getting to speak to guys that are like there in the WWE and guys that are on the road making a name for themselves, either like in AEW, like anywhere. Just the exposure, uh, the chance to get to meet people, and what I've been able to learn has
yeah.
been like second to none as far as like rewarding for me, because
That's
when you
another
get
thing I
in,
don't.
you don't know what to expect.
Yeah, that's another
And
thing I don't people really think about is as referees we all kind of do. We kind of have our own little side group apart from the wrestlers, where we kind of like bond together and kind of share our experiences, because it is a different experience than being a wrestler. It's
mm-hmm.
you have to market yourself, but you have to market yourself differently. You know,
Right.
like I was like
Yeah,
when I was talking to Kevin, like we're not the stars, right? We're the third person in the ring, but at the same time, we need to kind of put ourselves out there in order to get bookings so it's kind of a weird thing. So we're always there to help each other and give each other advice.
yeah, we're not making highlight videos and we're not making a highlight video and sending it off of us doing a shooting star
Right, and I
press or
think that also allows us as referees to kind of like not step on each other's toes, right? It kind of we are looking out for each other. We're not trying to bury anybody for the most part.
no, and
And
like yeah,
there's
and we've
always some
gotten
out
to work
there, but
some really good guys in different places that we've either met in the groups or before, or gotten a chance to meet. Like if we got to travel, we got to work with some different people. Like yeah, the sharing of knowledge and helping each other out has been tremendous for the groups that we've been in and out
yeah.
of, and people have been really helpful.
So you mentioned being on TV is one of your greatest accomplishments. What else do you want to accomplish as a referee in professional wrestling?
Oh man, that's that's a good question for me at this point.
Right.
So when I first started wrestling, I always wanted like most people are like, oh, I want to get into the WWE. Like I really want to do that. That's like a dream for most people. So when I first started, like my trainers and whatnot say, look, you're the only ref here. You have plenty. There's no reason for you to get to where you want to get to. If that's what you want to do, like let's push you. We know there's obviously people that can see you in the business that'll be good. So like there's the right people should see you, and just don't screw it up. And like I was really looking in that direction, and then like and I said, hey, I've kind of always wanted to work on the railroad too, for like I've been trying for years, and like something's gonna come first, and that might be the tipping point in the way I go. So for anybody that knows me personally, I do work for the railroad now. So my goals as far as what I want to do now in wrestling is not actually ultimately to get to the WWE where you're on the road all the time. Like I wouldn't be able to do it. So for me, what I want to do at this point is I want to continue working for like for years doing this. Like my goal is really is longevity in the business, working with the same crop of talent and have the same high expectations that I've been very fortunate to get early on. I want to continue doing that for years. Like I don't want anything to change in that aspect. My goal is to keep things on this level the same as I have been. And I have gotten a chance to do a lot of traveling. I have a family now, so it's like it's a little bit more difficult between that, and the work that I do. So like I've been very fortunate to have some things set up with some promotions, like most notably Northeast Wrestling has been top tier as far as like the amount of shows that we do, the talent we have there. Like when it's possible, like I drop anything to make sure I can be at a show being run by Northeast Wrestling. Like, and I know that when I say like longevity, I want to be doing this for a while. I know I'll be doing this for a while working for that company because they've been around for so long and they're not, they'll outlast anybody else's business.
Right.
So
they're not going anywhere anytime soon. And
no, like
it's nice
longevity.
It's nice to be a part of that. Yeah. 100%.
Yes. It's a super blessing with that. But yeah, that's like a goal. That's like my goal is longevity. To be doing the same things I am now, being in the great position I'm in now, like 10, 15, I don't know, who knows, 20 years down the road. Like we'll see what wrestling, brings for all of us. I'm sure it's not going to go anywhere. So that's actually my goal. I've gotten to do a lot of cool things. I've gotten to travel. I've gotten to, like I said, I've gotten to like do TV stuff, which was like super cool through House of Hardcore, which did get to like go on Impact. So like, even though I wasn't an employee, I've definitely been on Impact before. I've gotten to work for MLW for a while. I got to do a lot of shows for them. Just with the flying around, and I can't. It was a lot difficult for me. So I've kind of had to. I kind of stopped working for them too. But like, I've gotten to do so much cool stuff that in a short amount of time, that my goal at this point is to continue doing what I've been able to do in like the reduced role of not being able to do all the travel that I was used to doing before.
Yeah, it is. It's tough, especially with a job and a family at home, to be asked at our level to be to travel all around the country is not easy. 100%.
Right.
So, is there anything else you want the audience to take away from this interview? If there's one thing that you want the audience to know about Chris DeAntonio, what would that be?
I'm extremely like fortunate to have like gotten in when I got in, to have started with the people I started with, to have met the people I've met like in the business from the first day I started and until today. Obviously everybody still keeps in contact with each other, even though we're not, in the ring. I can't imagine like wanting to do what I've been doing in wrestling any differently. Like just to give like anybody that asks me like what we've been talking about, like how'd you get in and where'd you start and what'd you do? Like I would not do anything like differently at all, other than just like to take a little bit slower approach initially in the beginning. Like this is great. I would never want to leave this business. Once you start it, like
it's addicting.
Like you don't want to get out. Like this is what you enjoy doing. It's like it's like happiness for me.
It is. It is a weird addiction, even for us referees to get out and get out in the shows and see the crowds and
it's
be part of that, right?
Yeah, it's like it's the coolest thing in the world.
No regrets from Chris.
No, and if you have interest in doing this and getting into the business, like just jump in, get in, learn, meet everybody you can meet, and take it, go far. Don't sell yourself short right from the beginning. Jump in. Want to do it?
It's great advice.
It's a great business to be in.
100%. It's great advice. All right, so that's all the questions I have for you. We got a little segment that I like to do at the end of the interviews called the Quick Five. It's gonna be a quick quick 5 questions. Just shout out your favorite answer. I know you're a big sports guy, so some sports questions in there. All right.
All right.
Are you ready?
Ready to go.
All right. First, what's your favorite sports team?
Oh my God. Regrettably, the New York Knicks.
It's rough.
Regrettably, the Knicks. One day, my heart will probably just stop.
I can't blame you for that. Favorite sport to play?
It's always been basketball, which is why I suffer through the Knicks as my favorite team.
Favorite sport to watch?
It's always been basketball, but I don't know. Football's always been right there for me, especially recently.
1 and 1A, we'll call it, right? Football and basketball.
Yeah, it really is 1 and 1A with those.
What's your favorite movie?
A Bronx Tale.
Bronx Tale. Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice. And last question. Favorite meal on the road?
On the road. Oh, I can't eat so much really on the road. I get nervous. I'd say maybe after a show
Sure.
when everything's dissipated and we're let's stop for eat somewhere. Anything, or I don't know, any place where you could get a wrap or something which is easier to eat, but I always take anything that's just completely fat afterwards.
Just something fatty. That's fair.
Yeah. Hey, where do you want to stop? They're fat. Let's do it.
All right. So everyone, that was referee Chris DeAntonio. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for chatting. It's good to see you.
Yes, you too, man.
Hopefully I'll be seeing you sooner than later when all this is over.
Hopefully very shortly in the near future, we're hoping.
Fingers crossed. So anything you want to plug? You got social medias out there? Or?
Yeah, I have a Twitter. You see me at Ref Chris D. And I don't have too much that I will
I'm a big social media guy. That's all right.
Not too much. I do a lot of stupid memes and stuff. That's really all the best. But yeah, I mean, once shows start running again, you'll see my promotion for things go check out northeastwrestling.com. There's always there's past shows on there that we've done. There's so much talent that goes in and out of there. A lot of their shows are better than some of the stuff you see on TV now.
I would 100% agree with that. But.
Yeah, check there for when shows are going to start running again, because that'll be the first chance people get to see us, is most likely going to be on one of those shows. So yeah, check there often.
All right, follow Chris on Twitter at Ref Chris D.
Yep, Ref Chris D. Simple as that. Nothing more than that.
All right. So like I said, this has been an interview with Chris DeAntonio, referee Chris DeAntonio. Thanks for coming on. And hope to see you soon, buddy.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, take care.
All right.
Bye-bye. Bye. Thanks for watching this interview with referee Chris DeAntonio. This has been just another guy talking about stuff. And until next time, witty sign-off catchphrase.